I heard you on the airwaves back in '92. Late at night, the DJ let the real songs through. If it had soul, they still would spin a few. They took the rebels off the frequency, replaced the sound with market strategy, a playlist built by corporate fantasy. I met your program. Who did they pay, man? Corporate killed the radio rock. Corporate killed the radio rock. Spreadsheets came and broke its heart. And now we're standing in a silent studio. The lights are on but no one's in control. You hear the ghost of guitars long ago. You were the loud one. You were the proud one. Corporate killed the radio rock. Corporate killed the radio rock. Spreadsheets came and broke its heart.
know it's Wednesday, baby, and we're serving the sound. Jams and cocktails, best show around. With ice in your glass and the crew on the mics. We mix it up right every Wednesday night. Get your sip on, get your groove tight. JNC does the midweek right. The shot of the week, it's about to blow. Don't you touch that dial, yo.
Jams and cocktails, let's start the show. Jams and cocktails, let's start the show. Jams and cocktails, let's start the show. Jams and cocktails, let's start the show.
Well, it was a very quick move to my camera. I guess I did not have the right transition. Usually it's a lovely fade. But anyway, welcome to Jams and Cocktails. I am Brad Brock, and I'll be your host this evening on this musical journey, if you will. That's right. Tonight we are discussing a topic that I've been interested in for years. We were supposed to do it last month. Something came up at the bar, and Jack wasn't able to be here with us. But I'm glad that you're here now. Now you've been trapped. But yeah, we want to know what happened to alternative rock music, particularly on the radio. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. Welcome my guest co-host tonight. You all know him, Mr. Paul Robertson.
How you doing? Well, all I got was this. The radio station went away, and all I got was this shirt.
That's it. And the memories.
This is where people say this is a 20-year-old plus shirt. You know, underwear older than that.
Paul, all I got to say, buddy, is I'm stoked that you could still fit into that shirt. That's amazing.
I'm sucking it in really hard.
You wearing your girdle tonight?
Yeah. Don't air dry it. Just air dry. No heat.
And you guys, I'm stoked to have our special guest tonight here to lend his unique perspective on the topic. Former 103.1 Buzz insider and current owner of the Vine and Barley in St. Lucie West. Please give it up for Mr. Jack Wich.
Okay, thank you guys for having me. Stoked to be here. Yeah, super awesome. Yeah.
You're back in the radio saddle again,
That's
if you will.
Man. You know, these little microphones and headphones. It's not my normal gig, so it's nice to kind of be back in that realm.
Right? Yeah. No. Now you're slinging beers and dealing with karaoke people and musicians. It's my worst nightmare.
We honestly have a really good group of karaoke people that come in. And the biggest thing that I found out is there's no place for wedding singers or party singers or things like that to go and practice. They don't have practice facility. They don't have a room or something like that. So they go out to karaoke nights to sing their songs. Because who cares what the background music is when you go out to the event? It's going to be something different. But, man, there's some of these people that come out and the pipes. Holy smokes. It's like, that girl can sing. Like, she's 4 foot tall, and she'll blow everybody away here with how good she is.
Right, yeah. You never knew who you're getting into or who's coming through. I ran karaoke for years, and yeah, sometimes people would just some old dude up there, and all of a sudden he's just laying it down, old Humphrey or Engelbert Humperdinck, killing it.
Here's another, just one of the old time crooners or something like that, and it's like, oh no, you could do Sinatra. You actually have that voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You find some of those people that just show up as like that's their one song they got. Right?
Oh, 1,000%. Every week they do the same song. Oh, without a doubt. That's it. 100%.
That's it. And that's all they do. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get your signature piece, that works.
So we used to have a guy that would show up and he would go by Neil Diamond. That's what he would put his name down, and he would only sing Neil Diamond. Well, one day one other guy showed up and wanted to sing Neil Diamond. He didn't show up for like 3 weeks. He was very upset that somebody else would, even think about singing a Neil Diamond song.
Battle of the Diamonds.
It was that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I know this man, and I only know him as Neil Diamond.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. I can picture him in my mind right now. I know exactly who you're talking about. Crazy. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. And thank all of you out there for tuning in live with us on YouTube. Please go and we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're back to 8,700 and some change. It's been like this 100 subscribers up, 100 subscribers down flux since our big viral hit. So I'm just happy to be back at 8,700. I get kind of in my head, and I'm like, well, I need to get back to that, at least that number. And yeah, I like the way it looks too when it's over.
1,300 more to go then.
Yes.
And don't you get a YouTube thing at a 10
Ooh,
or what's
no,
it? No,
diamonds or yeah.
or is that 100
Yeah,
something?
you get the silver one at 100,000 subscribers, which would be nice. But listen, if we got 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I'm throwing a party. We're gonna have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's gonna be nice. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, listen. Also, big shout out to Jenny from the Block, our keg sponsor this month. Let me see if I pull her thing up there. My lovely sister-in-law. We appreciate that. We got her husband, Steve the Bruce, on deck for next month. That's going to be a fun poster for y'all to look at all month.
Who?
What? Oh, who? Come on. If you don't know Steve the Bruce.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
I don't know why that's a slideshow that we're going to show later.
Oh, whoa. Getting ahead here. Getting ahead here.
Yeah, not sure why that happened. You never can tell. Everything has its own mind here. We are watching the chats and the comments on YouTube and Facebook tonight. I'm going to try to switch around over there, so because I know everybody's got their opinions, and we'd love to hear it, especially tonight in a discussion like this. So let us know that you're out there. We've got loads to get to this evening. So without further ado, let's lube up this nostalgia.
Whoa.
This is our shot of the week.
In a world where cocktails are timid and shots play it safe, one drink dares to turn the volume all the way up. Forged from the tropical chaos of coconut rum and the dangerously smooth punch of peach schnapps. This is not just a shot. This is an experience. It's bold. It's explosive. It's unapologetically rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. The click, click, boom shot. Let's head to the JNC bar and make it.
What's up, jammers? Tonight we've got a shot for you. Very simple, very explosive. The click, click, boom. First, we got our Malibu rum. The recipe calls for half an ounce, but we go big or go home here. So we're going to put an ounce of Malibu into a shaker with ice. And then the same, we're doubling up with our peach schnapps. So we're putting an ounce of peach schnapps. Shake that up. Then we'll strain it into our shot glass. There you have it, the click, click, boom. Stay to the lounge and give it a shot.
Join us each week for our shot or cocktail of the week by visiting us at jncpodcast.com to see what we're planning. Then tune in on Wednesday nights to have a drink with us. Do you have a recipe you'd like to see us try on the show? Slide into our DMs on Facebook or Instagram and let us know.
All right. You guys ready for the click, click, boom?
Well, hold on now. Who performed that song?
It's just Don't Call Me Josie Scott. That should be the name of this drink. Don't Call Me Josie Scott.
It's probably better than what I was thinking.
That would have been a better name. What were you
Who's the
thinking?
name of the band?
Oh, saliva.
So I'm hoping this is not a shot of saliva.
Well, that's the secret ingredient.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be click,
That's
click,
the
boom. all
secret
right, yeah.
ingredient,
So,
Paul.
All right.
Well, cheers,
Yeah,
fellas.
cheers.
Cheers. Peach is my jam.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can't go wrong there.
It's so
Not
easy.
bad.
It's such an easy shot. I mean, it's a little girly, but Josie Scott's kind of girly.
Oh, shots fired.
He definitely wore eyeliner.
Definitely wore eyeliner. I saw some videos. I did a deep dive. I did some research on this. Speaking of research and into this discussion, I guess we should just dive right in. So there was a time, as you may know, not ancient history, not some black and white era that our parents talk about, a real time not that long ago when guitars ruled the airwaves. When distortion wasn't niche, it was normal. When the sound of rebellion didn't live in playlists or algorithms or recommendation feeds, you know, all the normal stuff on TikTok. It lived in your radio dial. You didn't search for new music. new music found you. And here in South Florida and the Treasure Coast, that sound had a home. And that, of course, was 103.1 The Buzz. Yeah, there's the shirt there, Paul. That's right. So it wasn't just a radio station for most of us. It was a meeting place, a clubhouse, a signal tower for an entire generation of misfits, music nerds, concert kids, garage bands, and future musicians. And the DJs weren't voices from another state. They were ours. You saw them at shows. You ran into them at bars. Some of them own bars now. You called in and they knew your name. The Buzz didn't just play music. It validated it. It broke bands. It gave local artists a shot. It made you feel like you were part of something bigger than your car speakers. And for a while, new rock and roll wasn't just alive. It was thriving. And if you blinked, it felt like it completely disappeared overnight. So tonight, we're not just reminiscing, we're investigating what happened to alternative rock music on the radio. Was the music? Was it the industry? Was it the listeners? Kind of a combination. It may have even been something behind the scenes that none of us ever know, and that's when Jack comes in.
Yeah.
Because Jack was there behind the scenes. I'd like to welcome again Jack Wich to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. I was an avid listener since the station went on the air. My parents were incredibly awesome and brought us out to a ton of different, different events at, cell phone stores, Gabby Dogs, wherever they were doing remotes, we were constantly going out to meet the jocks and talk with them about just kind of the music that we're playing or what's going on. And then, we'd go to the bake sales and all the concerts and everything like that. So it was absolutely a community type deal and meetup when they would kind of come out to these events, especially up north here, because, being that we're so far away from Palm Beach, 80, 100 people would show up for a Buzz event in Port St. Lucie.
Right.
Because there's nothing else happening.
Exactly.
So, they were big things back then.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, the Buzz, we'll talk a little bit more about the Buzz itself, but that station came alive in 95. What year did you start to work for them?
So I started working for them in September of 2009, but it was really, it was probably 1999, late 1998, I started to become really friendly with some of the jocks. So essentially I was working Sundays at my church, helping out like in the nursery. And so we went to an old people church in Port St. Lucie and there was never any kids. So I would just sit there and listen to Buzz Light, Buzz Jr. with Jason Davis or Jeremy Steve Clark and stuff like that. And I'd just call them up on the phone, just start chatting with them about, hey, this band, became friendly with them. So pretty much from like 99, 2000, it was more of a friendly relationship rather than just like, a listener type deal, to where I'd get concert tickets sent out to me or, we'd show up to a show and it's, hey, you're meeting Audio Slave today. Oh, I just walked in the door. Congratulations, you're the first winner. Sounds great. Okay. So it was pretty cool. But I was blessed to be able to get a job with them in 2009 and join on air doing nights and weekends at first, and then to ultimately at the end when the station shut down, producing the Morning Buzz with Loper and Randy and kind of filling in wherever.
Yeah, that's killer, man. So you didn't have to go to broadcasting school or anything like that?
So I did. Yeah,
okay, so they made you do that.
So I did, but I also was in radio before I got into broadcasting school. So in 2002, Jan's Place, I was in downtown Jensen, in the old location where Thirsty Turtle is now. My brother used to be a manager there. And Coast 101.3, the radio station here in Port St. Lucie, was over in Jensen Beach previously. And the morning show, Star Michaels, the host, she would go into Jan's Place, and my brother was the manager, and he was telling her, hey, my brother wants to get into radio, any tips, tricks, any things that, he should learn or what to look out for. And she goes, does he want to intern for us? I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, come intern for us. I'm like, I'm 10th grade. I don't have any experience. She's like, no, we'll teach you. So 2002, May of 2002, I started with them. I started doing mornings with them and interning. And within 3 months, they gave me my own show on Sunday nights, and I did midnight to 7 a.m. And then about 3 weeks later, they gave me Saturday nights from midnight to 7 a.m. They liked what I was doing the night I quit, and I was 16 years old, and I had a 7 to midnight show Monday through Friday on the radio.
Dude, that's like living the dream.
Yeah.
It
was awesome.
That's what you do it for.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I was blessed to be able to get in and really have hands-on experience learning what became, of radio, what to do, putting the, changing the pots, running the board, loading songs into the system and whatnot, cutting commercials. Luckily, I was there right after Reel to Reel ended, so it was all digital. Thank God.
I was gonna say, you just out there like putting tape together.
No, thank goodness. It was literally like they got the new machine like 4 months before I started. So I was like, oh, thank God on that. But no, so I did that for 4 years, and then I graduated from high school here, and then I graduated from IRSC, and then I got accepted up to University of Florida, and they had a rock radio station up there, Rock 104.
Yeah.
And I got hired about 4 or 5 months after I moved up there, and I started doing weekends, and then after about 6 months of that, I became their music director, and I did afternoon drives 3 to 7.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for about 3 years before then moving down here with the buzz and all that.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you grew up in radio. I mean, from 16 on or even earlier. That's great. So so you have a very intimate knowledge of how radio works and the politics within it, because this isn't a push button issue. This is all politics.
Oh yeah.
That caused this chaos to go down. So a little bit about the buzz. Launched in the 90s, I think 95 is what we were saying. And it was a modern rock alternative station serving the West Palm Beach area and in the greater market.
So essentially a couple of guys came down from Boston. They were looking to start a radio station here in Palm Beach. They kind of mimicked it a little bit after a station that was up in Boston already, and it took off, as you saw.
Yeah, the buzz was a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a radio station. It was a culture.
Was it the right place, the right time?
1,000%.
Because 90s music, and again, we all have been talking about on our show, both of our shows, is the turn in the music, or when, LA music, hair metal turned to grunge, and then, that change and so forth. But yeah, the 90s, I mean, again, I know I'm a little bit older than you guys, but yeah, just listening to that, a lot of that stuff, the 90s all the way through, and then 2000s, then into more new metal, and turn of the century, right?
Turn of the century.
Yeah, say it that way, right? Yeah.
I don't mean to make us feel ancient, but it really was.
Yeah. Well, that's 30 years. You're talking 30 years ago, right? Yeah. So,
well, that hurts.
Yeah.
So, at the Buzz, you started there late 2000s.
Yep.
What do you remember most about the Buzz in that early time?
Yeah, so we were
because you got in there. They were in their heyday right there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was definitely all everything was firing on all cylinders. 2009 was kind of weird though, because you're coming out of the economic, kind of downturn in 2008 and before that. So it was definitely all money driven at that point. It wasn't as much fun before that, the 2000s or late 90s kind of radio type was. It was, hey, we need numbers, we need ratings, we need sponsorship. It's, for lack of a description, the fun times are kind of gone. We need to make money here. It's a business, so that's kind of where things started to change. Concert tickets weren't as prevalent. They weren't mailing out CDs anymore. Everything was, here's a code, go download it. That's how we got all the songs. There wasn't you'd walk in and the music director would have 10, 15 CDs on your desk every single day. Now it's go check an email box or go check this app that we have that you can go download, all the songs on it. So it was definitely shifting away from the fun, and then the PPM started, and we'll talk about that in a little bit on shifting away from diaries into the kind of change with Arbitron and how that worked. But yeah, it was an interesting shifting of time to where there was still a lot of the OGs from the Buzz that were there that knew how the station should be done and should be ran, but also at the same time you had CBS Radio that was definitely with their thumb over you going, where's our money?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting, because you have experience prior with other stations, so you have a firm grip on how it was before. And we will talk about the PPM. And I know there's going to be a joke out there. Somebody's going to say in the chat something about PPs. I know it, and I feel it in my bones.
Is it a different kind of M&Ms?
Yeah, really. So let's talk about that time span between 95 and 2011. Right, so and we're gonna name that tune into this bit here, you guys. So if you're out there, get ready. So there's 2 moments in time, and this is just the music part of it, right? So we got 1995, alternative rock is exploding, guitars are doing their thing. Lyrics are raw, recordings are raw. The grunge era is kind of moving out, and then you jump forward to 2011, which is when the Buzz bit the dust, right? Not just the Buzz, alternative radio kind of bit the bullet or bit the dust. Same station, same format, same city, but the sound is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not worse, maybe not better, but different. So in this round of Name That Tune, I set up some tunes from early days and then some tunes from the later days that were in rotation on the buzz.
So, do you have buzz stuff to give away, prizes, in the prize closet?
Well, a date with Jack.
Oh,
All right, you gotta ask as long as the wife approves first. That's
Yeah,
all right.
you can't touch, but you get to hear all the stories.
I need my yard mode.
So what do you say? We want to play a little Name That
right,
Tune?
here we
Let's
go.
do it. I got smart,
Do you get to play?
and no, but I
Oh.
I put the boards at your desks before, so we're not running around.
They're a little destruction crew list.
Yes, we are that destruction crew list. All right, so we do invite all of our live viewers out there to play along with us in the chats and the comments. Let's see, we are looking for the name of the band, name of the song, and whether you think it's the 90s or the 2000s.
Nickelback.
No, this isn't a hard one. So
90s or okay.
hopefully
So all we
it's,
have to write
it's
is
not too
90s
tough.
or 2000? That's it? We don't even have to write the name?
No, name of the song, name of the artist, and whether
See
you
how
think
I-
it's
you
the
can see how I
90s or the
actually listen.
2000s.
I don't.
Nice. I'm going to turn your headphones up, Paul. All right. Here we go, you guys. First clue coming at you.
The world is a vampire.
Classic. I'll give it to you again. And just hang on to your board before showing it, Jack, so we can let the chat have a chance.
The world is a vampire.
I'll take a peek over at Facebook and see if anybody's hanging out.
This is the first album I ever bought,
Really?
like that I purchased. Not here's a CD, anything like that. Nope.
That you went out
That
to,
my
to
mom and
buy?
I went out to Specs Music now, the Buffalo
Specs.
Wild
oh
Wings.
my God, Specs.
So I actually worked at that Specs for about 3-4 years, and it was wild. Like, oh man, used CDs and concert tickets of the Ticketmaster up in the front, like nuts.
So good. All right, let's see what you got here. Nice.
Yes, that's what I thought, but okay.
Alicia's got it there in the chat. Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
I thought I'm not a big Smashing Pumpkins. That's why. I think the music is great, but I just can't stand his singing.
It's not for
It's a
everybody.
yeah,
It's not for everybody.
The catalog's not my favorite, but there are some definitely great gems in there.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I will tell you, probably one of the most recognizable bands out of the gate when you hear them.
Oh well, right away you know.
Oh, you know
it's-
his voice.
know, yeah.
Yeah, Billy's definitely got a distinctive voice.
Yes. Interesting. You know, it's funny. So he was on Stern, and we're going to talk about Billy Corgan too because he made an interesting comment on his podcast recently, and we're going to talk about that.
Controversial.
But it is, a little conspiracy theory kind of going on. But all right, next clue. Here we go.
I know the version of me. Is she perverted like me? Would she
I cut a little bit out for the kids.
I know the version of me. Is she perverted like me? Would she
They're thinking real hard in here. I did ask a lot of questions for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I know the rest.
Well, come on, man. You worked there. You ought to know.
All right. No, it's not the right song.
All right, let's see what you guys got.
You know, it's kind of ironic though.
Oh, how about that? It's Alanis Morissette. You ought to know.
Oh,
What did you-
How the hell did I have it too obvious? Of course, I got 90s, Alanis Morissette, and extra bonus points for what show
Huh.
she was on.
Yeah, a little jagged little pill.
So
Yeah,
that's
the
what
bottom.
that's what I thought.
And you
it was.
can't do that on television.
No,
yeah, that's
you
right.
can't. No, you can't.
God, that was a great show.
No.
What was the one where in the beginning there was a keyword that you couldn't say or you got slimed?
I'm not saying it because you might have slime in here.
It's not unusual. It's not unusual. Nice. Yes, you ought to know.
I don't know. Was it? You couldn't say that's the word. That's what.
Oh, that's right,
That's
yeah.
what the saying was.
Yeah.
That's right. You knew.
I'm showing my age. I'm old as fuck.
I love watching those Dave Coulier interviews when he's like, I bought the album, and holy shit, the album's all about me.
That's right.
God, yeah. And she
Like-
confirmed it, too.
Oh, yeah.
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 Crazy.
Yeah, John Stamos called him up and was like, what did you do to her? You really messed her up. He's like, huh? He's when he got
Yeah.
the album, he's like, oh, damn, I did.
And the world was just messed up about it because it's like, so we're talking about the guy that does the puppet on
Yeah.
the Full House
Yeah,
show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cut that out. Let's go.
That's it.
Oh, my God. All right, next clue.
90s.
Here we go. Yeah, really. We're deep in it now.
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed.
Here it is again.
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed.
Oh my god, why am I trying to play? And I'm usually pretty good at this.
I got to admit, I thought you were going to do better at this, Paul.
Yeah.
I was expecting
The 90s
some
was
real,
so
like,
long ago,
some
then.
weird deep cuts, like
No.
Disposable Penis or something like that from Green.
King Missile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
Well,
weird.
the game's not over yet.
All right, I can't. I can't. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the song.
Oh, Austin, why are you
Oh,
watching on
Jesus.
Facebook and Alicia's on YouTube? You guys get it together.
Yeah,
You're probably sitting in the same room. Switching over to read
Phones.
comments all over the damn place. But you got it, though, buddy.
Oh, I went. I went. Oh, I was off in my decade.
All right. Wait. What did you guys put? I didn't even read
I
it.
put-
Just a girl, no doubt.
I put no
95-ish.
down.
That's right.
95.
Around that? 94, 95? Might have been early
I maybe
96.
I'm mixing up. So saw them at Sunfest, probably early 2000.
Okay, yeah.
Right, because
no,
I think that record. Well, I think that record came out in '97. I could be
maybe it's
mistaken
a nice one.
though.
Okay, maybe it's a
Yeah,
little
late
later.
late 90s. Yeah.
Love them.
All right.
All right, next clue.
That song's all the time.
Here it is again.
It's such a cool song too. I'm gonna get the wrong name out of this.
I was obsessed with that album when it came out. I listened to it all the time. But I can't go any further into that because the details would shed light on when.
I can't remember the name of the band. And I
Yep.
know I played this on Late Night Buzz numerous times.
All right. Oh, that's it.
It is Pumped Up Kicks, Foster the People.
Foster People.
Oh,
And that was 2010. It was probably right around the end of the Buzz era. And so now you can see that we're making the shift to what was considered alternative rock later in the time. Last clue. This was one of those songs that I forgot about, but it was everywhere when it dropped. Everywhere.
Play it again?
But I totally forgot
Say it
about
again.
it.
yeah. All right, I know it's in the 2000s.
This is a good guess. Need it again, or are you stumped?
Nah, I'm stumped. Yeah.
All right, let's see what you got, Jack.
One of those.
Oh, Cage the Elephant.
It is Cage the Elephant,
Yeah.
and the song is "Shake Me Down."
The first year they played the bake sale, the lead singer, I think he stood on the stage for maybe 10 seconds, and he was in the crowd for the rest of the set on the second stage. Like, just Mike and Cord just running around having a damn good time.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
They have great tunes, and yeah, that song was huge
Oh, yeah.
when it dropped. Nice job. That's pretty good. Who did you guys out there? Sorry, Alicia. Yeah, we stumped her on Cage the Elephant.
They did pretty good.
Yeah, so that's from the beginning of the Buzz, 95-ish, 90 to 97 era, and then the last two tunes were from, so that was the shift in alternative music. So that also plays a part because it wasn't guitars anymore, it was more production work. It was more,
They call that guitar or shoegaze kind of.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I always viewed it as more like, I don't want to say hipster rock, but that was more of like, it was alternative, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I can hear that song like at Respectables.
Yeah.
Right. Even probably today, even still. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was very.
Man, I feel like that version of alternative music kind of stuck around,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, the Mumford Sons, Neon Trees, like that sort of genre and style kind of was really kind of forming then, yeah.
Yep. And I loved all that stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, well, nice job. And so when you were working at the Buzz, did you notice that kind of shift in alternative music when,
Oh, yeah.
from what you had been playing? So now the new music coming in, you're like, well, this is
yeah.
kind of a big change.
Yeah, you'd hear from, the shift of Disturb, Papa Roach, 3 Days Grace type music to then now where Sum 41, Story of the Year, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, to then to the Fall Out Boys, to then, that side of things, the Neon Trees.
Maroon 5.
Like
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
sort of realm of things. So absolutely, you started seeing, I don't want to say the bit more not in your face, up speed
Too
music.
aggressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely more laid back, cool, just vibey,
Yeah.
rather than getting some aggression out. For lack of a better description, I'm mad at my dad type music.
Yeah.
Like that sort of
Hey,
thing.
leave Dad Rock alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So I promised that we would talk about this. So Billy Corgan, frontman, of course, of Smashing Pumpkins. So he making some headlines, and I read it just either today or yesterday. But so he's got a pretty bold theory on what he thinks happened to rock music. And it wasn't corporate takeover or corporate shunning or whatever it was. So on a recent episode of his podcast, The Magnificent Others, he suggested that rock didn't just fade away naturally, but it may have actually been pushed out. He said, and I quote, "I think rock has been purposely dialed down in culture." So he points to the late 90s as the turning point. Specifically, he said around 97 or 98. And he said it started to shift at MTV. So obviously a little bit different than radio. But according to him, rock was still thriving at the time, and we can all agree with that. But suddenly, he said the industry pivoted hard towards rap music, which is interesting. I mean, in the 90s, that was a big time for rap music in hip-hop. So he explained if you were at MTV, suddenly they decided that rock was out when rock was still very, very high up, and he said it was replaced by rap. He even claimed that the network's standards changed almost overnight, saying their standards and practices immediately shifted. Things that weren't allowed were suddenly allowed, and then he said it gets even more interesting. So he mentions that some people have gone as far as to suggest that there was involvement from the CIA. Isn't there always? They're always in there, always messing around with our kids and our youths.
I mean, when the Buzz first came out here at Jensen Beach Elementary in Jensen, they had a PTA meeting with all of the moms to let you know and let the moms know about what this alternative music is. And, like, don't let your kids listen to this. Like, they legit had a 2-hour meeting on the Smashing Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and Bush and all these. It's like, okay, what?
So, to be fair, when bands like Korn and Marilyn Manson, when all of this started dropping, like the goth kids, it was their time to shine, right? So there was a cultural impact of alternative music, new metal.
Oh, yeah.
stuff
Especially
that
around here, too,
stuff
with
that the Buzz
Manson being in
played.
South Florida.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, so kids were dressing weird. The Jinkos, they had their day in the sun, and I wore them. We all
yeah.
did.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Hell yeah.
So the eyeliner, the nail polish, it was the studded belts, you name it. It was out there. So it was a cultural impact that alternative music had on kids. So I kind of get that.
I think kind of what he's getting at, if you look at what MTV was at that time, that was the heyday of TRL. So what's blowing up on there? Teeny bop stuff. Your NSYNC, your Backstreet Boys, your Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. But what was the counterculture of that on the rock side? Limp Bizkit, Korn, Kid Rock. So I get what he's saying on like the more rap side of things. It was the Eminems, the Dr. Dre coming back, and all that sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, you really didn't see. There was no more Smashing Pumpkins videos. There was no more, any other band. I mean, Creed was huge in '99. Other than With Arms Wide Open, there was probably no other video you really saw from them. So yeah,
Right.
so those rock videos were absolutely being pushed away, and now it's chicks in bikinis or scantily clad and sex sells, and it's now the younger generation that we have to skew towards. And I think that's kind of where it went. But yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so he even goes on to, he kind of, the takeaway today, he said, is it's that rock is still huge. It's still the most, he claims that when it comes to ticket sales, it's still the biggest, but that it's oddly underrepresented in mainstream culture. And so, I don't know. He just came out to say he thinks it was purposely dialed down to push a different genre,
I think so for
youth
sure.
culture.
Absolutely. It was, how do we skew younger? How do we continue these multi-million-dollar selling CD albums a day? How do we continue those bands to come out? And yeah, we broke another record. Oh, we broke another record here. So absolutely, I think it's definitely where they were.
I think Diddy had something to do with it, but that's a whole other podcast.
Oh boy.
We'll bring Jack back for our Diddy podcast. But yeah, so I guess this question is did it fade or was it phased out? And now we're going to kind of get into that corporate side, because maybe not by the CIA, but it certainly was phased out on radio by corporate control, overreach. You were kind of talking about CBS, with the thumb on you guys. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So here is where the story kind of takes a little turn, and maybe that listeners never saw coming at the time, because the biggest change to radio wasn't necessarily musical. In 1996, this is interesting, a piece of legislation was passed quietly through Washington, and it was called the Telecommunications Act, right? And so this piece of legislation is what happened to your local radio station owners, right? Because it didn't make music headlines for fans. It didn't trend because inside the radio industry, it changed everything. So before that law, companies could own a limited number of stations. That was it, which meant most stations were locally owned. The Coast was locally owned for a long, long time. They had local managers, local programmers.
Yeah, Helen Horton. For the longest time. Yeah.
Yeah. So local decision making. That's all that was going on. But after that law, those ownership why can't I say that? Ownership limits, they were lifted. So suddenly stations weren't just radio stations anymore. They were assets for corporations. Companies began buying stations across the country at speeds nobody had ever seen before. Independent owners sold because why wouldn't you? Here's millions of dollars. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So regional groups merged. That was happening a lot here. And within a few years, hundreds of stations that once sounded completely different all were kind of adopting the same vibe and sound, right? So names like Clear Channel, Cumulus, CBS. Later groups were like Merlin Media, which were notorious for buying and then flipping the format. And so instead of competing cities, it became competing portfolios. Insane, right? So
It was the heyday of syndication.
yes,
That's it.
right? So so you lose your, and we're going to talk about the Buzz when they did their flip as well, because that was their big thing, was doing away with morning radio talk shows, right?
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. But yeah, all of a sudden your local guys in the morning were getting like Ross, were getting pushed out for Howard Stern or for,
We got Big Rig in Tampa that can just pre-record it, and he just changes one word, and now he's on 98 Rock, Miami, and the Gator.
Exactly.
within a second. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's far out, right? So, because of this, everybody's familiar with Nielsen. Maybe you're more familiar with that for ratings on television, and they still do this. I just filled one out recently.
Did you get your dollar?
I did get my dollar.
Hell yeah.
I think it was a $10.
What?
I think it was because
Inflation.
I got
Yeah.
the dollar. They baited me, and then I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then they sent me the whole thing to do for the month or whatever, and that was $10. And they put cash in there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I didn't even. And they weren't even hiding it. It was like
Oh, no,
right
it's
in
right
the
there.
little.
Yeah.
I was like, man, the mailman could have stole this. But yeah, it was crazy. And I feel like it's as important as voting in your elections. You got to give these things ratings. So, and I'm glad that they've kind of come back to that because it was diary style.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not what was going on in the early 2000s. They switched to this whole Nielsen still was the company doing it, but they switched to this program that Jackie alluded to, and it was the PPM,
Yep.
which was the personal something monitor. I don't know. Well, tell us a little bit about it, man, because
Yeah.
you were there when they made
So-
that switch to that.
Yeah, I'll never forget the day we were in a Buzz meeting. So we would have weekly Wednesday meetings at the Buzz. You know, everybody, all the jocks and everybody would go down and essentially just, hey, what events we're doing this week, what, things are going on. But then we had the PPM rollout. And yeah, you go from a diary setup to where you don't know. Who knows what grandma's just saying, yeah, I live in, listen to this person for 8 hours a day. I'm writing it down. Now this new little device that looks like a beeper can tell exactly what you're listening to, how long you're listening to, where you're listening to it, and a lot more information that you had no clue was actually in the air coming around you at all times. So, they would tell us, go to Best Buy, go to Walmart, turn all the radio stations on all the stereos that are in there to our radio station. Go around and do little guerrilla things like that. So then that way, if somebody is walking through that store with a PPM, we're going to get that time spent listening. And the TSL is huge. You need to get that quarter hour. You need to get that time spent. Like, that's what all the ratings are based, and that's what all the money's coming in through. So if you're not destroying in that, you're not killing it and raking it up, see you later.
It's so crazy because I just thinking of back, during that time, I remember going through like Walmart, when Walmart had a huge electronics and it was all like hi-fi systems and the Iowa. You remember the Iowa radios?
Mm-hmm.
Man, those things were so cool. I had one. Everybody did. But they were always set to one station. And I always thought it was just because it would be a cacophony otherwise, but now it kind of makes more sense that you would have your street team out there dialing up the buzz.
Yeah, you got an intern that's got a couple of hours, go down the street, go hit up the store, just go turn them all. Or you're passing by this, go stop there, turn them all too.
It's so fantastic.
Portable people meter.
Portable people
There you
meter, PPM. That's right.
But the craziest part when this hit, you'd have all these legacy guys that were dominating. Completely dominating the ratings. All of a sudden, not listened to anymore. Number one on morning show, thousands and thousands of dollars. Nope, gone out of their job. Because one lady that used to listen to them 20 years ago hasn't been listening for 20 years.
Yeah, right.
So what a massive upset. And this didn't just involve alternative rock stations.
No,
This was every radio station that moved to this style.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you have radio managers or station managers that are completely panicking because they're getting real-time telemetry of people that are not listening to their station.
So the wildest part was they would figure out the exact moments in the hour that nobody was listening, and that's where they'd bury the commercials. And so we would have, the commercials start at 13 and they run to 18. Do not put them any other block. That's the block point that we're putting them right now. And then as new information would come in, okay, cool, the people are not listening during this time, so we're going to move that block to this point. So they were absolutely looking for the least listened to time to bury the commercials, and that way they get you with whatever else during the normal times.
So you're paying for an ad,
And they're not having your best interest in hand. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
But now there's spreadsheets that tell you that, right?
Yeah.
Especially your advertisers. So imagine being an advertiser and then all of a
You
sudden
want to pay for this? It's a little bit more money for that.
Yeah, especially if finding out that your ad was being buried, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm not going to pay anymore."
Yeah, why am I going to do that?
So I could understand the shift in or the crisis mode that everywhere had.
Yeah.
So particularly in alternative rock, because the adult contemporary stations were killing it, because all the working people were in their cars. You know, those were primarily the people that the monitors were sent to, you know, not kids, you know, with black nail polish. We weren't wearing those, you know, and so all of a sudden no one's listening to the buzz now, even though so many people were.
Yeah.
Huge cultural thing in the area, huge festivals, which Alicia was mentioning, the Buzz Bake Sale. We'll talk about that too. So you had this station that was in the youth culture, but not getting any recognition because kids weren't wearing these. And also the way that they kind of work was the radio stations were putting out a frequency that was inaudible, but the meters picked up. So that's how it kind of pulled that telemetry. Because could you imagine sifting through all of the audio to figure that out?
And that's the biggest thing nobody understands. Every single bit of music that you're listening to everywhere has bits of information that you're not able to pick up. So your TV, your car, wherever you're at in places, the Muzak at Publix or whatever else, they're emitting signals. So then that way these devices, can tell you exactly what you're listening to and where it is.
It's far out.
Yeah.
Very intrusive. I mean, you volunteer for it, but still, you know, everywhere you go, you're here, you know, so... Interesting device. Terrified the executives of this radio station or the radio stations that were just happy.
Well, they didn't know how to react. How do you react from doing business for literally forever as one way, and now they flip the switch, and now what do I go on?
Well, I'm going to tell you,
You know?
it's a knee-jerk reaction,
Yeah.
like everybody does, when all of a sudden you realize the way you were doing things has been detrimental to your business all this time. And you alluded to this, or didn't even allude to it. You said it straight up. There was a point where, you know, the economy was in the tank with 2008.
Oh, yeah.
And that recession. So the stations, you know, in the heyday, they were giving everything away. They were doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're counting pennies to stay on the air.
Not as many trades anymore. Yeah, you want actual payment for advertising, you know, and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's, and then all of a sudden this device comes along and says, oh, we're going to tell you exactly who's listening. And that's what happened. Right?
Yeah.
So CBS, knee-jerk, panicked.
They pretty much told us about February, Marchish, hey, if we don't go into next year #1 in the ratings so we can go after the car dealerships and those type guys, those big national accounts, you know, we're probably not going to be good. And I don't know, at that point, I thought it was a little bit of, you know, just kind of talk like, okay, cool. We've got the station that's been here for these many years.
Right.
Are you really going to do that? And you could tell amongst the staff, like, I think they're probably a little bit more serious this time than they've kind of been before. You know, we can talk a little bit more about when the day comes and all that, how much of a shock that was. But yeah, I think at first everybody was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, like we're a legacy brand. We've been here for how many years? How many people love us? We sell out the bake sale every single year. You know, we do the turkey drops. We do these different food drives and school supply drives, and we fill up school buses and stuff. You know,
The Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, the Easter egg hunt. How many people show up at the beach down there or expose the buzz? And, you know, they got on the Today Show and different things like that. So there was a lot of things happening for that station. You wouldn't think of, oh, we're just going to kick it off. And yeah.
And
that was it.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just talking in the bar before we went live, and you were just telling me you brought a mouse pad. Just this is what happened to the buzz. Oh, we'll pop over. Yeah, so it was the buzz. Now 103.1. Everything you would expect. Katy Perry. All that was going on at the time. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So before we talk about that big switch, was there any notice that the
No.
station was going to flip?
No, even literally the day before at the bake sale, you could tell there was a little bit more of, hey, good to see you, I love you, a little bit longer hugs, but there wasn't anything that was like a savor this, looking around type of a thing. So we kind of were like, okay, that's kind of odd, but okay, whatever. Like maybe we don't get the next December, but it's not going to be a tomorrow we're off the air.
Wait 1 fucking minute.
Yes, they shut down the buzz the day after the bake sale.
So they let you guys go out there,
Oh, hell
run
yeah.
the bake sale,
Yes.
took
And
all
not
that
say-
money.
and not
Yes.
say
Oh,
anything.
absolutely. And I don't know this for sure, but I would not be shocked if the bake sale held the station on for so long because they had all those contracts and everything already locked up. I don't. That's just me pontificating.
no, for sure.
But I would.
Yeah.
Why not?
You'd have to pay everything back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's insane that they
Yeah.
would do that right after the biggest event.
The next day.
Okay, so let's.
Right. Monday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. So the week of bake sale leading up to it, Ross gives me a call on like Monday or Tuesday, and he goes, "Hey, will you cover my shift the day after the bake sale?" That's the only on-air shift I have never worked yet. Was 3 to 7 afternoon drive. So I was so stoked. I was like, "Hell yeah, absolutely! Count me in. I'm there." I lived here in Port St. Lucie at the time, so it was an hour down to 45th Street. So I'm making my way down, and I get a phone call from Noah, and Noah's like, "Hey man, you probably shouldn't come in today." And I'm like, "Why? Everything okay?" And he just gets silent on the other end. And I go, "Why? What's happening?" And he doesn't say anything. And I said, "Is it happening?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm 5 minutes away. I'm coming in. I don't care, you know." And yeah, and it was just like that.
It's so.
But that's radio. Like if you've ever worked in radio, that's what it is. You know, and like they don't give you notice. There's no heads up on anything. When I was fired from the Coast twice, it was literally like I showed up for my shift. "Hey, you're not on air anymore." Oh, okay. Like
I like that you said it twice.
yeah. Well, the first time, yeah. So we ran a teen show, you know. So it was kind of hard to get sponsors, you know. Like you can only get so many places to come in. So
Right.
you know, so they couldn't get. So we were cold calling Island Water Sports and you know different places like that back in the day. Of hey, you know, you're a more teen centric type place. Would you like to come out for that? You know, we got the bowling alley in Port St. Lucie, Jensen, you know, Lanes, you know, pizza places in Stewart. How to get on for that? But yeah, man, it at the end of the day, it's a business and it's all about advertising.
Sure, and it totally makes sense. But I don't know. It's like I get it. I get it. It's just insane to me.
Oh, it sucks.
The knee-jerk reaction, you know, we think about like knee-jerk reactions today. Like now we have social media, and you know, you see something, and you're like, all of a
Cancel
sudden,
culture or whatever.
my opinion of this person has changed now.
But but you think about it from that perspective. What other way can you do that?
You really can't because you
Right.
can't give that person an opportunity to go on and disparage the station or say something you know,
Right.
that they don't want.
Or you're not going to tell
You know.
your listeners if they're forewarned.
No, but
you
even
know.
if it's like somebody that worked at that station for years,
I-
you know, and had a great rapport with those listeners, like why would you want to burn those listeners?
But it goes back to like we're saying here is it's lost the local aspect of it,
Yeah.
where it's the part of the community. And I know another radio station and morning show in town that still exists. That was a whole weird thing too that happened, you know, a few
Yeah.
years ago. You know, there was a whole local aspect. They had to leave town.
you're
and
talking
come
about
back.
KVJ.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I wasn't gonna, you know, but
we down them out.
yeah.
We're friends with them on Facebook.
They're good people.
They steal from us. We steal from them. That's what we do.
A friend of mine was actually Virginia's officiant at her wedding. He's in the beer industry.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah.
Oh, I love them. I've been listening to them since I was a kid. Like, you know, so,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know, and so I've watched their show grow.
I mean, and it's great that we still have a legacy brand that's in this
Yeah.
market that's doing something good, and the show's not bad.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it's a good, respectable show. So yeah, it's killer that we still have that.
So it's interesting because that all kind of happened around the same time because they were on 95.5
Yeah.
and they got fired for a syndicated show, which is what. So I guess before we get into that, let's backpedal. So now 103.1.
Yep.
They're in the building.
Yep.
The change is made.
So yeah.
did
So
they
I-
just can everybody and they had their own crew?
Kind of yes and no. So I'm going down to the radio station, and if you ever been down to the Buzz, there was a back office area that they would do all like the Buzz acoustics and things like that, a big open air kind of conference room. And at the end of it, I sent you one of the photos you'll kind of see later, but there's like a backdrop with now 103.1 and the new
Oh, yeah.
colors.
Keep talking. I'm going to
And-
throw that slideshow up. Though.
And in front of it is this big like countdown box. And it's like, what the hell is this? And it literally looks like you're going to like launch a rocket or something. So they play the last song in the Buzz, which was what, Beds of Burning, Midnight Oil.
Oh,
that was the first
yeah.
song that ever started, so they play that as the last. And right as that ends, they start this countdown. 10, 9, it's like a rocket ship taking off. And here's these two guys, happy as a pig in shit, slamming it down. Yay, we're starting this new radio station, as literally salespeople, marketing people, people that have poured their hearts and souls into this radio station is crying in the corner. Like the new people just from CBS Radio, they don't give a shit. There's no value in that brand or name to them over the years. It's just another number on a spreadsheet, you know, and it's how do we increase this? You know, so yeah, see some of the photos from the Buzz, from some of the Buzz events, Buzz Bake Sale. So this is Literally, you
There it
see the
is.
little box right there, and then here's the mouse pad. So as they do it off, they hand out these mouse pads to everybody, and I'm like, cool, this is gonna be my beer coaster tonight as I go home and just like, literally, am shocked, crying in my beer. Like, how do we do this? How does it get to this point?
What kills me the most about it is, like we talked about it, it's a business, I get it, but like the complete disregard for the cultural impact of the buzz in our area and for rock and roll music on the whole, it's so, it was just cast aside as though it never existed.
Yeah.
But what brings me great joy is that now 103.1 lasted less than a year before it was taken back and then turned into a country music station, which is all other bag.
Yeah.
Because country music is
Powerhouse.
Arguably the biggest selling music genre on earth currently.
Yeah.
Only pop music comes close, but it's a crossover brand or a crossover genre now. So,
and so kind of to answer your question that you asked, like, I wasn't full-time on the air. I was still kind of part-time. So I had a little bit of an offer. Hey, do you want to come and work kind of weekends and things like that? Here's the deal, though. What do you think a part-time radio DJ made an hour?
$11.
Ooh, close. 10.
wow.
So at that time,
In 2000, what?
2009. So, I mean, not that much long ago. So I'm like, do I really want to go work at a station that's going to be playing music that I don't like? I don't really care about, So I was doing I was doing beer for breakfast reviews with the Morning Buzz, and that's kind of was like, all right, I really like this craft beer thing. I think I want to kind of get into this full time. So I was like, do I keep driving down an hour every single day, spending half my tank of gas on my paycheck, or do I stay local and kind of do something a little bit more fun? And that's when I jumped into the beer side.
Which I think was a great move for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because radio just blows now anyway. With the exceptions of like KVJ, who are still doing their thing and true to their craft. When I feel like when the Love Doctors went off air, when it was done.
Yeah.
First of all, it went on too long after Rich left.
Yeah.
And then. Dano, I love him. He's a nice guy, man. He just couldn't. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, also too, it was something special for those guys back when it did. When I first moved here in the early '90s, they would pack out the Met Stadium, for ZZR night, and it's like, what do you mean? Yeah,
Hey, who
the
you
Love
guys?
Doctors are
But,
here,
yeah.
and people would line up. Like I'll never forget. I was probably 97 or 98. I went with my buddy, and we got to throw out the first pitch because we just met them before the game. They're like, yeah, we're just bringing up a bunch of people. Do you want to go? And my buddy's parents were like, yeah, go. But that's what they would do in the
Right.
the Mets aren't doing anything like that anymore. But there's no stations to draw from.
Yeah, not nearby.
No.
Not.
Down in Abacoa, KVJ comes out.
Yeah.
They've been out there. at
Listen,
spring break,
dude, they're.
Yeah.
I
but-
feel like they're probably one of the last talk radio shows that are out there in the community doing things, keeping that culture alive, and everybody knows them, and they love them or they hate them.
But they get it. They understand that connection to the community is what's going to keep them in that. So hell yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You got to be with them.
So it's so weird though. Is in the space of radio now, is where this morphing of morning shows or talk shows, how podcast. It's like it's almost very blurred now.
Yeah.
Is if you're not playing music. Because some of the shows maybe a little music, a little talk.
Yeah.
Like the Gator in the morning. I think 95.5 does that too now. But KVJ does a little bit, but still does a lot more of their own discussions and things like that.
Mhm.
Less music. But this is where, the podcast word, and it's like even now with Howard Stern,
No.
he's not in the studio anymore, but it's always shit on podcasting. But it's almost like, well, you're doing exactly that.
It's He's just
On-air
doing a different
podcasting.
formatting.
But I mean, I get
Yeah.
he came up through the rural era
Oh,
of
terrestrial,
radio
yeah.
and the soundboard stuff, and to be like that whole spirit, kind of thing. But yeah, it's interesting when listening to the Buzz, and then I remember, I gave into satellite also when it kind of
absolutely.
came out.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, because I got so much into listening to satellite radio, was was like, oh, well, shit, I didn't know so-and-so was coming to town, or I didn't know, because I lost connection to the local stations and local things going on, or a local concert coming up, or whatever. It's like, oh, well, damn, that's a big disconnect you'll get.
Yeah.
And then, hell, we weren't even streaming music at that point, right? Because satellite was new, but even look how crazy the satellite battle with Clear Channel, and how that was trying to fight. Clear Channel was trying to fight satellite radio over the merger.
So they tried to push a little bit with like the satellite type deal with the HD2 radio stations,
right? Yeah,
to be able to have that second station streaming on those. And I don't know if it ever happened, but they were talking for the longest time. Essentially, AM was going to be given back to the government, and AM stations would be then put on to FM2 stations. So then that way the government can use the AM stations as whatever sort of broadcast that they need. So I don't think that it ever got to that point, but I think that's what they were kind of talking about. But I'm really shocked that they never figured out a good way. But also, too, I think at that point, car radio started stopping. So now where else are you going to listen to it? Home radios didn't have an HD2 channel.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your old, box stereo back at the house doesn't have that. So if the technology is not being adapted and taken in, now it's more iPods, your iPhones are coming out, so you have all that music at the touch of your palm. Yeah, we're just going to shift away.
And it's amazing how many people are not even using the antennas in their cars because their phone goes right into CarPlay or Apple or Android Play or whatever, and you're streaming your radio.
Yeah.
So it all lives in the internet now.
And it's seamless because now you walk in your house and the song picks right up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you put on your headset and the song picks right up. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, it's what I mean. But even radio, with the iHeartRadio app or TuneIn, even picks up all the locally owned stations or the smaller brands. It's a clearer reception. You could listen to the same radio station for your whole drive without losing anything.
Oh, and that's it. Yeah, you're talking a 12-hour road trip, and I don't have to ask the significant other what you want to listen to. Nope, we like lithium. Sounds good.
That's it. And
We're
you're
going.
We got to change station. We listen to Signal. Oh,
yeah,
we got to find another
Yeah,
channel.
you don't like Pearl Jam? No worries. We'll go to Tom Petty radio for a second. Yeah.
So wild, dude.
Man, I used to listen to a great station when I lived in New Jersey. I was in high school. Was Seton Hall University, WSOU. That was a heavy metal channel back in the early 90s, late 80s. But
yeah, back when you can play whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have that video that you sent me of these pompous assholes from.
Oh
now.
no, I don't. Did I have a video for that? I don't think.
I think you sent me a link to a video for it on YouTube.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
And I want to see if I.
Yeah, I did send it to you the other day.
I want to see if I pulled it.
It was such a surreal thing, like. Just,
and this I imagine was what they were doing when the salespeople were crying in the corner.
Oh yeah, they're literally just stoked on everything, and it's like you don't understand the change that you're making right now in this community of literally there's salespeople walking up to the managers of the station going, "I just closed deals this morning and signed contracts. Why didn't you give me a heads up?" And they're going, "Well," and it's like, no, now we look like an asshole to these customers that aren't going to want to advertise with us because their salesperson didn't know what was physically happening at their station. So it's like, yeah, they didn't care. They weren't. Nope. If you weren't in that loop, that was it.
They screwed everybody over so bad. Let me see if I can. Let me see if this has audio. Hang on. Where is that? Yeah, it's so cringy. By the way, just how they just crapped on everything. Hang on, I gotta make sure that it goes out to everybody.
Was that on North Point Parkway or
45th Street?
Yeah. On Congress, or I'm trying to think of where you guys were at.
No, we were right behind the racetrack. So when you get
Rachel's and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
The Buzz Studio. Over the window.
WPBZ FM and WPBZ HD1, Indiantown, the Palm Beaches.
4, 3, 2, 1. Palm Beaches, welcome to the all-new Now 103.1. Today's best hits without the rap. we're going to be playing things from Lady Gaga to Katy Perry to Nickelback to Coldplay. So we wanted to put Now 103.1 on the air to be a radio station for adult females in the Palm Beaches.
For those who want to listen to The Buzz, what is it you found out about the Buzz listeners and where can they listen now?
One of the things that we found out through our research is that the Buzz listener group was the most internet savvy group of listeners, and they were already listening online. So this is going to be a great option for them. We hope that they're going to listen online, they're going to listen through HD radio, and they can even download an app to their smartphone through radio.com or through the iPhone store in order to listen on their smartphone online. We found, too, in the local market here, the listeners were looking for something new and exciting. They were looking for something with less talk in the morning, something with less commercials, and that's what we're going to deliver on.
There are a lot of radio stations that talk, it's all talk in the morning, and most of the radio stations that we intend to compete with are very, very, they play lots of commercials and lots of talk. You won't hear that on Now 103.1.
Yeah, why are you guys wearing camo hats?
We're wearing camo because we are actually waging war on talky, uncool radio.
With us waging war against uncool radio stations, against talky morning shows, against radio stations that don't give you music in the morning, this is no easy task. But it's something that through a lot of research,
Isn't it ironic?
West Palm Beach and the Palm
Because
Beaches
it's
has told us
exactly
that
fed
absolutely
right into
needs to
streaming
exist with
anyway.
Now on the 3.1.
And even at that point, streaming wasn't a thing. Like there was streaming capabilities, but for the most part, our listeners were not a big streaming. Like we did a live camera and stuff like that.
But she just said you
Oh,
were.
I know, but like that wasn't. Yeah.
What is wild to me is that flash forward to where we're at now, and every radio station has morning talk, even the syndicated stations. You know, and there's talk in the afternoon. You know, like Ryan Seacrest has his show on midday.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They all of that research that she was talking about didn't pan out. It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so
it was
crazy.
Knee-jerk reaction, like you said, on what do we do here with this PPM deal, and where do we go from there?
But they were so cocky about it.
Yeah.
That was wild to me.
Because it's CBS Radio. We know what we're doing. We're a national group. You know, we've got stations in New York. We've got all this different stuff. Oh yeah.
Devil's advocate here. Why would you not be confident?
I mean, I guess you have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
You're putting.
1,000%.
You gotta polish,
if you're going to do it,
polish the turd.
jump. Yeah.
And
right.
Yeah,
I mean, but it's
waging
hindsight,
war.
It's a hindsight now. Right.
Waging war on talk radio and no, I'm sorry, they called it talkie radio.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
Now, I wouldn't be shocked if behind the scenes they were like, "Hey, we have to do something, and then we'll turn it to IRK." So it's like, how do we just do something? Because if it just would have switched immediately, I think you would have had a bit more of an uprising on people just really being upset, you know. But it was like, all right, cool. Here's this lifeless thing that we're going to put here for a little bit and hold the spot, and then you like IRK. It's a big, brand over the years. Now we'll just shift it to that.
So, wait a minute. So what we're saying here is you exchange the bake sale for the rib roundup.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you did.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, they were already doing those events, you know what I mean? You already had the connections at the amphitheater and all that sort of thing, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, so to kind of round out the end of the buzz there, so when it was all over, did you feel like it was just another radio station blipping out, or that South Florida lost something culturally?
We absolutely lost a part of our culture and a part of who we are in South Florida. You know, the concerts dried up, the events dried up, the camaraderie, the live music, just being exposed to new music kind of dried up. Bands just didn't want to come down here anymore. You'd be lucky if we get an Orlando show or a Jacksonville show because there wasn't a station in Orlando, West Palm, Miami, and Tampa to promote them anymore.
Yeah, it's far out, dude. You will never see, unless you're in a small club or it's an indie band, but to see some of these big rock bands come through, the closest thing you get is Rockville, and you're welcome to Rockville up in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's
or wherever.
what we're getting now. Yeah,
Daytona.
They're just doing these big festival shows because it's easier. There's a bigger reason for them to come in.
Package it up.
Yeah, and you might get one pre-show somewhere, but
yeah.
It's
always where I-4 is. We talked about earlier was I-4 has been that imaginary line that nobody goes south of that, right? So
because once you go in, you got to come back out. So all the tours, West Palm would be the start date or the end date. You're coming through.
Well, I think even in Daytona, there was a small station there that started off. There was two stations when I lived there. One was, I think, may have been, I think we were talking earlier, 93.1. That was The Crow, like similar kind of style of music. And then there was a sister station called 95 The Hog. And obviously it's very bike week kind of centric, but a little bit more like Gator kind of style.
Yeah.
And it was a local station that got started. But I think when I've gone back, I think The Hog still exists because that's very popular. But I think it got sold off also.
But were you able to pull the 2 Orlando stations?
Yes.
Okay, so so there you go. So you had
I had a lot of options, right? Whether it's listening to 104.1 Real Radio, right? Listening to the Monsters or that stuff, right? Or
JRR.
JRR or some of that's hell, I remember way back when it used to be a station called, I think it was 100.3 DIZ. It was like a Disney. It was, but also another rock station kind of style. Though. Then Planet Rock came
Planet
in.
Rock.
That was another one.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of Zeta. Used to be able to get it from out of Miami when we're down.
And you just, I mean, we're reduced to here in this area. We're reduced to the Gator, which is no new music whatsoever. Not a single new track rolls through their playlist.
And that is on my little boom box in the garage.
Yeah, get the lead out. Get the lead out 90 times a day.
My yard work. Like, it's
It's interesting. However, for those of you that are still on the search for new alternative music, the music didn't die. There are still alternative bands out there doing their thing. The style maybe's changed a little bit, but the internet is a wonderful place for music. You just have to do a little. It's not as easy as just turning the dial on the radio station, right? So after everything we talked about, the corporations, all of that stuff, the data, the PPM, what it comes down to is alternative rock just relocated to the internet. So no more radio towers, no more FM frequencies, but you can find it on Spotify, which I hate to even bring that up because they're trash to artists, but there's plenty of places to go find it. And you could go now. The bands are more accessible than ever.
Oh God, yeah.
You follow them on social media. You could go to the shows. They know your name before you show
they're
up.
Personally responding to messages and stuff. Oh yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it's really kind of taken the rock star status out of a lot of things. Now people, that mystique is kind of gone. So now you get to know these people, what they eat for breakfast,
The mystique has been gone for years. The minute you can start buying VIP tickets to everything, that's where it's over.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. The minute that every single show has a VIP option now, it's like, cool. I don't want your plastic lanyard. Give me the sticker. Let me put it on my leg. We're good.
Yeah, for real. That's fair. So I don't know, man. I still love alternative music.
Absolutely.
And
there's still bands that are out there doing it. Like, we just went up to Orlando the other week, and we saw Our Lady Peace and the Verve Pipe play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Phenomenal show. Absolutely.
I wanted to go to that show.
Was so damn good. And Verve Pipe blew me away. I've never seen Verve Pipe before. I was like, okay, dude sounded great.
For those of you don't know, it was the Freshman song. And I think they had
a
couple other hits.
There was another one that they played. I was like, oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
They did a perfect 7-song set. They did like a cover in between, and they closed with, I was like, oh, that was great. Like, interesting, exciting. You didn't drag us out too much with things we don't know, but
interesting enough. So I have this flyer from the 2002 Buzz Bake Sale, and Our Lady Peace is on the bill.
Yeah,
right. And 2002, that's the shirt from it.
Yeah. Our Lady Peace did a ton of shows at Bake Sale. Ton of years.
I'm just gonna rattle off some of the names of that were at the Bake Sale this year. Good Charlotte, Cypress Hill were awesome. Hoobastank, Our Lady Peace, Everclear, worst band ever to see live. Love them. Art's he's an amazing songwriter and in the studio.
I can't get into Art.
It was. I can't see the shows. I can't watch them. I've seen him 3 times, and it's not great. I don't know if he's tone deaf or he's deaf.
Just too pompous. I don't like his attitude.
Interesting. I never met him or anything, but yeah,
I met him a couple of times, and it was just like he was so into himself. I'm like, bro, there's so many people here just want to have a conversation with you. Get out of yourself for a second.
Every show I've seen, not great. NERD was at this show.
So NERD got banned from the amphitheater that year because Pharrell told the people to rush the stage. And I'll never forget, my buddy Jeremy Steve Clark looks at me and he goes, "They ain't playing here again." They had a very big policy. If you told anybody to rush the stage at the amphitheater, you were never allowed to play there again.
I'm sure that Pharrell.
Wow.
I'm sure he's crying every night about it too.
Early Pharrell.
Earshot played in Non-Point.
Yeah.
Those are, Non-Point's a
Non-Point.
Florida
Yeah,
band,
baby.
right? And I think that's
Yeah.
cool. I used to, in my country band, we used to rehearse at a studio down in, I don't know, it was Fort Lauderdale's area. And Non-Point they rehearsed in the studio right next to ours. So we're in there, doing our honky tonk.
Marquee?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Margate?
Marquee.
Oh,
Marquee. No?
No, it was something crazy. It was like, I don't know, space. It had something to do with space, like Galaxy
Orbit?
Studios or something. I don't know. But yeah, they would rehearse, and so I got to meet them in the lobby, and we're right next door to them doing all our honky tonk shit, and like they're rehearsing.
We
next
just saw
door.
them down in Culture Room not too long ago. Still
It's
put on a good show.
still great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
still put on a good show.
On the little stage, which is where I spent most of my day, because all these bands were like, that's what I was doing. It was Unwritten Law, amazing group.
Just saw them the other day with Goldfinger.
SR-71,
Yes.
Seether,
Yep.
love them too. Authority Zero was really good. OK Go was so crazy because he had broken his leg, so he sat in a chair the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's all these memories.
Those guys are the treadmills, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go figure. Broke his
So-
leg. Now he's doing all the treadmill stuff.
So we went to that bake sale, and 2 weeks later we go up to New York City, and we're catching a show at CBGB's, and it's SR-71. And I'm like, we're just at the bake sale. We just saw these guys. The album just came out, and I'm like, this could be a big show. Nobody was there for them. My dad and I were literally like the only people. Like Mitch, the lead singer, just sat down and chatted with us, and he's like, "So you're at that bake sale show?" I was like, "Yeah, we were just in Palm Beach. That's where we're from." And he's like, "This is a little bit different, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean,
It's crazy. Fighting the good fight, man. Bowling for Soup was one of my favorite acts that year. I fell in love with them.
Yeah.
Blindside.
Yep.
Forgot about them.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Copley and Social Burn. Who could forget Social Burn?
Yeah.
Listen, this was iconic.
Good year.
This was iconic.
And we would always get these great bands as they're up and coming, and they would sign the contract before. Like, we had Muse play the second stage one year.
Oh, my God.
Second stage in the middle of the day.
That's
like,
crazy.
Oh, what?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like, hell no. There's no way they should be on that. You know?
Dude. Hoobastank was great, too. They put on a good show.
Yeah.
Now, the back of this flyer, if this doesn't scream the time period that it was in, I don't know what does. You got the buzz. You've got Specs music, and you've got coffee culottes from Dunkin' Donuts, which was that's I think the year they came out.
Probably.
I don't know. It's so quintessential, and I'm so proud of myself. It has one crease when I put it in my pocket, and then it landed in like a file folder for the rest of
I
existence.
still have some from '97, my first bake sale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Goldfinger, Green Day, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Less Than Jake. Yeah, I still have some of those from back in the day.
So that's a good kind of segue of other festivals, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a little weird stuff that's going on in music in general, whether it's local venues are closing, or music is changing, and so forth. But like the biggest music festival in West Palm Beach, South Florida, Sunfest.
Yeah,
right.
gone.
So, but even at that time, I mean, hell, we're just trying to think about the timing here. Is you could have had the bake sale at the end of the year in December, right, or November, right, end of the year. Somewhere in there, Ozfest was still a thing. Was really raging at that time, and then you had Sunfest, right? And so back when Sunfest was
yeah. Don't forget.
really-
I mean, you had Warped Tour in there too. That was another big one following around.
They had
what was Lollapalooza came back around. You guys got.
Yeah.
So I mean, those festivals. I think that's what we're going to see a lot more of now is the traveling festival.
Yeah.
I think Warped Tour kind of showed last year, hey, we can come back and we can do kind of one-offs here and there.
And it's nostalgia for people like me, right? You know, the Gen Xers.
It is, but it isn't. So we went to Warped Tour, and it was incredibly nostalgic, and it was a lot of fun. But there was 93,000+ people there, and each day you're walking over 9 miles, bouncing between stages and areas.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, I just walked 10 miles almost today to see 35 minutes of a band that I really like, and the sound is shitty festival sound.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my wife was so pissed at me. We saw Amberlin's one of my favorite bands, and we're up close, and it was all bass, all high. And I'm like, somebody needs to work your sound. I'm like screaming between songs, like, please, like, you've got all these people, but it's still, you're still getting screwed with that festival sound.
They don't give a
So
shit.
no, they don't care. No.
Money.
But Ozfest, they're saying, is going to come back next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've talked about that, doing at least one of the stops where they did the Ozzy performance and the tribute out in his hometown and stuff like that.
Right.
But I'd be floored if we don't get a Florida stop or something like that.
Well, I mean, Florida's still, West Palm, certain acts, like, I mean, you look at Dave Matthews.
Oh, yeah.
Always he's got always a great crowd. So it's like, is music or certain things in music? No.
There's demand there. We used to have Fort Rock as well as Rockville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was a time that we had two large, and I think it was more so just like, okay, cool, we can just lump this together, a lot less work, and now we just do it as one. But I mean, I think that there's still absolutely a want and a demand for these shows.
I've been hinted at. So I had bought tickets for like Rockville because it was the first year they moved out of Jacksonville because they were doing a lot of construction downtown, and that was why they moved it to the Speedway.
Yeah.
And it was 2020.
Yeah.
And so I bought tickets, and I think Metallica was play or whatever it was. My brother and I were going to go, and we were like, well, I guess we'll just get our money back and instead of wait to see how this all pans out. But yeah, that's always been one. It's like, is it worth it going to check it out?
I did Jacksonville. I had a blast.
Yeah.
But this was also Soundgarden.
Oh.
Perfect Circle. Thing. It was like, so it was a phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, and it was also too. It was like 3 months before Chris passed. So it was like, oh my God, just like a weird, whole thing with that.
You think, you look back and say the appreciation of what you saw, right?
And I'll never forget, my buddy's a big Soundgarden fan, and we leaving the set, he looks at me and goes, that was a really weird song to end on. He was like, this wasn't a like good times, we love you, Soundgarden. This was like, no, we're leaving with a message, and so it was definitely an odd kind of.
So the energy was there.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. But yeah, I mean, I think Rockville's. I have a bunch of friends that go. They swear by it.
Yeah.
They camp out for 4 days. They've got the whole camper in the infield type
All
thing.
right, let's go, Brad. Let's get a camper.
I'm in, man. Like I've always wanted to go check it out. I can never like swing it because, some of us have to work for a living. It's not me though.
And it's real. I'm not gonna lie. Like 4-day festival out like that. If you've never done it, Warped Tour was hell for 2 days. Like I don't know if I could do 4. I'll be straight up with you. Like.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay at the Ritz up the street and bust myself in.
Yeah, like the Saturday or Sunday, the second day, I did not want to get out of bed. I was like, what's the last minute I can leave before we have to get on this bus? So I'm like, that's the minute I'm gonna get out of bed. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but then $20 waters,
that's the other thing too.
$26 chicken sandwiches. It's like,
well, you saw it with the documentary Woodstock '99.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of showed you what.
But there's also like. The venue that I saw Our Lady Peace at the other night was called the Place Live.
The Plaza.
Or the Plaza Live.
Yeah, it's a great venue.
$6 beers, no parking pricing. All the workers are actually really cool and friendly. It's probably the first concert I've been to in the longest time that the security guards are like, how are you? Not like, move. Like they were happy to be there. It was
a great venue.
Thing.
I love it. I used to live in downtown years ago, and it was always just such a fun festival because you go and you see local acts. And then the next week, you can go and see somebody like Our Lady Peace rolling through, and it's like, oh my God. Yeah, and it's always been that vibe.
So is downtown still decent? Because I remember in the early 90s when I lived we lived up there. Man, that was...
We went out to Gnarly Barley for dinner. It wasn't too crazy around there. It was only like a 10-minute drive, so it didn't seem bad. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't spent that much time up there, so I can't really talk about that. But it seemed okay. I definitely didn't feel unsafe leaving my car behind the place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, Ozfest '98 was my first concert ever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do.
Pantera
I was like,
and all that.
Yeah, Motorhead played, and I think Megadeth was there. It was crazy. I didn't know anything about what I was witnessing.
Well, you went from country to straight right in.
Yeah, so I was like, man, culture shock. But well, listen, guys, I think everybody's got an empty drink, so we're going to take a quick break. We've got more to discuss when we come back. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. Hope that you've found this interesting. Don't go away because there's more to come. Don't go away. This is Jams and Cocktails.
Jams and Cocktails will return in a moment.
But first, a shout out to our March keg sponsor, Jenny from the Block.
Thanks for keeping the beer flowing. Would you like to become a JNC keg sponsor? Reach out on social media and ask how. Now, back to the jams and the cocktails.
Everyone. for one day.
Sometimes I sit under the moon. I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon. I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose. We all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent. Blood drenched pavement, keep on moving, though the waters stay raging. And in this life, you could lose your way. Your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it phase you. No way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day, one day, one day. It's all we change, treat people the same. Stop with the fighting, stop with the hate. One day I'll be free and proud to be under the same song. Sing a song and treat it like oh, if I make you go over here, mommy, yeah, now, I listen to the wind of his and channel of sound. Get up, yeah, and I get up, and I say, yeah. Get up, no, get up, yeah. Run in, but you could not hide under the crazy bundles. We never run from inside, and I'm trying up to keep me down because them feel not joy. All them know is them found, so you call them and a boy, I ain't not I can't just see. Oh, open up your eyes, and now every balance is that you might in this life instead of my peaceful ways is wrong, and they won't come my way. I'm gonna say this time no work, and there ain't no time to play.
A little throwback for you, Modest Yahoo. And the, what do they call that?
The Buzz Lounge.
The Buzz Lounge, that's
Yeah.
right. I forget about Jeremy Loper sometimes. I forgot he was part of that.
I just talked with him last week, actually.
Fuck off.
Weirdly,
No way.
like, yeah, I was sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden, Instagram, Facebook, and a text comes in. 3 things. Hey, Jack, it's Loper. It's like, hey, man. Just like, oh,
I'm
completely random.
coming at you at all
Yeah.
from all corners.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know, still the same number or what? But it's like, yeah, bro.
That's
Hey, he's up in
funny.
Ohio now. Yeah, doing good up in radio up there.
Nice.
So,
Good for him.
yeah.
I'm glad that he's still in it. It's always kind of fun to like track these guys down and see where everybody wound up, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's nice to see that a lot of them are still in broadcast.
Well, a lot of them also do like Mark Summers in the morning. He moved out to Colorado, and now he does a lot of voiceover work. So you probably have heard a lot of his stuff on like Discovery and things like that he's done for a while.
He's got the voice of an angel.
Oh, he does,
so.
yeah. Meathead is, I believe, a librarian in Tallahassee.
Oh, wow.
He could have a new job by now, but that was what he moved up there for, and do that. Jason Davis works for a TV station in Atlanta. So he was working at WPTV for the longest time and living up in Port St. Lucie, but he moved up to Atlanta. Has been doing that's where he was from originally, so kind of back to where his roots.
Full circle.
Ross Mahoney is, I believe, still out in Vegas. He was running stations out in Vegas out there and running the Shark here for a little bit. So
I think I heard that.
With that. Jeremy Steve Clark, he was out in Vegas working with radio stations too. John O'Connell, who started the Buzz, he still lives in Palm City. His wife owns Gumbo Limbo in downtown Stewart, so he's the shop boy over there. So any of the things that you see that's built, he's posting behind the scenes of building boats and different things like that. So he's having a good time.
Good for them.
And a lot of they're still somewhat staying in music. John ever occasionally will do like a Friday night DJ session that he'll show out on his Facebook page. There was a couple of months ago that we got a Buzz weekend that he was very gracious enough to kind of share with us and whatnot. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we all kind of were still, Facebook friends. Obviously, you can kind of see what's going on with all them. So
is the station still out? Is there an online?
So I do not believe there's a streaming anything anymore on the station on the 2. I know that the Gator does a HD2 radio station that's kind of mimicked around the Buzz lightly. Jason, who runs the Gator, has been a big fan of the Buzz and all that sort of music for years. So you got that, but I think that's probably the only thing that, for lack of a better description, is currently still available.
So who owns all that copyright stuff, all the name and everything?
So that's where I think some of the questions arise. So I know that there was some people that were kind of like using a little bit of that, and then they stopped from it. So I don't know if maybe just it was like, hey, listen, that's not yours, be cool about it, and they stopped, or if it was a C&D or something like that.
Interesting.
So,
because I do know, and this is probably going back a couple of years now, that there was an HD2 station that was called The Buzz, and they marketed it as the nostalgic thing. Now, I don't remember the Buzz ever playing Avril Lavigne, but it's all over that station.
I think you were listening to the Gator too.
Yeah?
Yeah, because there was a couple of songs in there be like, nah, that was never on there. But I mean, like, I get it. You're just kind of pulling from that genre, what was popular and other alternative stations around the U.S. was playing Avril Lavigne.
Yeah,
but they didn't. The Coast chose to play Avril Lavigne at that time.
Well, yeah, because
So
you'll hear
crazy.
Nickelback on the Gator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know. My whole beef with the whole thing was like nostalgia stations. I want to hear something new, man. Give me something that's on
Every
the charts.
2 or 3 old, give me something new.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Interesting.
Look, the oldie stations keep expanding. If you think about that, right? And
Well,
that's,
yeah, I guess
so
that
is
makes
it
sense.
The 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 10s, and
Yeah, we don't have
right?
Buddy Holly on the oldie stations anymore. Now it's Nickelback and Red Hot Chili Peppers. God. Well, speaking of that time period, so today is actually the anniversary of the death of Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters, the drummer from the Foo Fighters. And so I put a post out, and I kind of want to get you guys' opinions on this because I put it out as a tribute just to say, hey, this happened and this is who he was. And people are vicious online. We already know that, right?
It's the internet.
And so there was a couple comments that I got. The video is doing very well, but there was a couple comments that I got that were just like, I don't know. It just seems so misguided. And they both were exactly about the same thing. And obviously we know that it's about overdosing, right? So I had a couple of people calling him, why are we celebrating a druggie? Oh, no, only known for overdosing now. And so my question to the two of you is simply, when you have this incredible body of work, or not just in music, but in anything, let's say that you've done all of these things, is it fair for someone who dies of, either overdosing or suicide or whatever the case is, to take everything that they've done and bring it down to their worst denominator and then that's how you choose to remember them, even though you don't know them in real life. But an artist, a philanthropist, anybody that comes down to the last thing they ever did was the most selfish thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And so I want to hear your opinions, and I'll give you mine.
I mean, I think it has to do with how much that person is known for. You know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot of people that have overdosed and those sort of things have happened, and you don't really kind of talk about that as much. You know what I mean? Like, I just watched the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary that came out on Netflix with Hillel, and, he passed. But that whole documentary was a love song, you know what I mean, of how great he was as a guitarist. So it's, it's kind of that weird, how do you separate the music from the person? And I think it's a lot of the same issues that people are dealing with now with Diddy, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, all those sort of things. Is, do you still look at it as an all-encompassing artist, or it's just that's their musical output, this person is an individual here, and that's that? So I don't know.
That's a very interesting spin on that.
I don't know how you look at it. It's kind of personal for every person,
If you weren't already a fan and never were a fan, totally understand. Maybe you're feeling...
That's not going to sell you on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's not the thing that brings you in.
If you were a fan, you have a tough time separating the two things, I heard Howard Stern said this the other day, was saying he's not a big Journey fan, and because he had a run-in with Steve Perry back in the day, and he thought he was an asshole, and he goes, and I can't stand him. He goes, but I can separate, the two pieces of it, right? So I don't know. We like you said, Brad. Jack, you said it's the internet, and of course it's the spew
vitriol.
Of
Well, that's an interesting thing too, because I put these videos out. I know we live in the age of AI, so everybody thinks that everything is just I just put a topic in and it goes. But I edit my videos. I spend a lot of time doing them. And I pick the topics. I pick the stories that move me, and this is one of them. And so I know that this video goes in front of thousands and thousands of people who probably don't give a shit about it, right?
8,700 people.
Well, yeah. And so, you'll have a bunch of people that say, yeah, I remember that guy. I love the Foo Fighters, da-da-da-da-da. But then you have somebody who I've put this video in front of them unsolicited, and now they're watching it, and their opinion is that he's a junkie or whatever the case is. And, it's like, so I have to separate that from myself being like,
you don't take it personal.
Yeah, like I didn't like package this up and hand it to you, and you're like, stupid video.
But look, I think of it like in that same aspect, the same band, with all the shit that Dave Grohl lost a little bit of shine.
Yeah, just not for long ago.
With his whole thing.
Oh, my God.
This guy.
And I thought, I thought that was really weird when that came out. Like, I can't tell you how many women I saw that wore shirts that was like, fuck Dave Grohl or things like that. I'm like, really?
So it's interesting. It spills out into real life.
Thought into this super...
Oh, 1,000%.
Right.
They always had him
and
as
then
this
he
level.
knocked off his pedestal or whatever.
But at the same time, like, I don't want to disparage him or anything, but like, come on. Did you not think that was flashed in front of him or possibly could happen? Like, he's been that big of a rock star for how long? Like, you're on another stratosphere with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not condoning it, anything like that.
Right.
But like,
the circumstances we don't have again, it's...
But it comes out like these are people that we have never met. Well, you probably met Dave Grohl.
No, I've never met Dave Grohl. I wish.
But you've met a lot of these people, so you at least have one foot on the side of.
And most of them are cool. Most of them are people like us. You know what I mean? For the most part. There's a couple that are ego driven and they don't give a damn about anything else but themselves. But there's a lot of really cool. Like, talk about Chris Cornell earlier. He's probably one of the nicest people I ever met. That guy wouldn't take a photo with you, but you want to sit there and have a conversation with him, he'll talk to you.
Interesting.
Like it was super down to earth. I was like, this guy could big time us from here to the sun, and I couldn't say a word about it because that's Chris Cornell.
Right.
And it was not.
But being around a lot of obviously rock, or musicians, obviously in your career and so forth, it's always like, how do you balance that fangirling?
Well, that's it. You have to keep the mystique up of keeping the rock star deal until you're sitting next to Brent from Shinedown and he's eating a burger and fries and he's like, "Don't look at me when I eat." I'm like, okay, no worries. Like, so it's how do you keep that mystique? And especially now with the internet, that's all gone.
Yeah.
But you get
can
behind
have
the
it-
scenes.
But you could have that really great relationship because if you're cool about it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm really good friends with so and so because I didn't kind of.
No. No, you're not fangirling. Yeah, you're just treating like a normal person.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that they would want. As
Yeah,
any of the
just treat
interviews
me-
that I
just
would
treat me
do,
like- yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
What are you doing today? What are you enjoying right now? Not the.
He's
the
not like that as a
stereotypical-
musician, actually. He wants people to.
Yeah, no, pry all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But it's so interestingly, also is that same kind of mindset. Because I put out videos about Janis Joplin being like, today was the day that Janis Joplin was born. Just
another
and
druggie.
people are like, oh, she drank herself to death. And it's like, that was over 50 years ago.
Yeah. Are we still?
Were you even alive?
Yeah.
Like, people are holding grudges against people that were dead before they was born.
Yeah.
And it's so wild to me. So you made a really good point. Obviously, Diddy, in his body of work and entertainment and in who he discovered and made huge stars, like, to take all that and throw it away because he's a shitty person is so wild to me, because
There's shittier people out there than him, probably.
to
we don't
discredit
know. Yeah.
to discredit everything that he did. Now, who's to say that when he dies, like, how do you quantify the worst thing that he ever did to the greatest things he's ever done, and what kind of legacy? And that I believe is a personal thing. You have to sit with that, and you got to like, that's something that you have to sit with. I'm a shitty person, but I did all these great things. So y'all could go, but like, I don't know. And I'm not saying that it's better or worse, but like, when you drink yourself to death or you have an overdose, which probably was accidental, by the way. I don't think he was out there just trying to die.
Yeah.
That is and not to say it's a victimless crime, but like, that is something he did. It was a personal thing, and it affected no one other than his immediate circle and his family and whatever, and the fans, but he did nothing to anybody.
No.
It's not like he killed somebody and then took his life. So to me, that's way different.
Yeah.
So how do you quantify everything that he's done, and then on a post of a stranger just not even celebrating, just stating like, this happened in history, and just say, oh, you're just a druggie? And it's like, what have you done in your life? And what like, are you telling me you've never done a shitty thing in your life?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so easy to tear down on words on the keyboard warrior, but rather
that's
than
so crazy. So I try to, like, I don't know. I try to be, I don't know. Sometimes I rip into people. And then other times I try to, like, put the shoe on the other foot and
See what reaction you get the next time. Post something of a day of they either were born or died, of somebody who died of overdosing or alcohol, and say, we're gonna celebrate this fucking scumbag of a person, and see what kind of reaction you get on that. And if maybe
I don't
and
know.
it'll probably be the same person, be like, oh, how do you talk to?
Yeah, when's the Lost Prophets guy's birthday? Yeah, let's talk about that then.
See, but
Too soon.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he just died too. Actually,
he did.
Yeah.
I think somebody shanked him in prison.
Yeah, I think he died in prison.
It wasn't like he just coughed up blood one
Yeah,
day.
no.
Like, I think he was impaled.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so that's a different echelon for me. If you violently
you're arrested for something and there's charges.
If you did something to somebody else that's heinous, and I think the things that Diddy got convicted of was heinous. Bill Cosby, heinous.
Yeah.
But that whole body of work, everything they've done that changed lives, that did all this stuff, like, I guess that's an interesting, maybe a topic for another show, but how to kind of sift through that, and that it's okay, I think, and this is just words of wisdom from Brad, I think it's okay to appreciate a body of work that somebody's done, but also admonish them for being pieces of shit.
Yeah.
A perfect example is, oh my God, Wall of Sound. Phil Spector. Kind of a throwback, but he died just recently, in the last 20 years, I guess.
Oh, man, I remember that story came out and all that. About Trump.
But my God, he was just a horrible person.
Yeah.
But he created he created music that or techniques that are still used today.
No.
And so, he was awful to Ronnie. He was awful to, he killed a guy, like, so, it's.
I think, unfortunately, that's where we're going towards, with just anybody can be anything now. You know what I mean? Like, we see it with president down to musicians to, because of TikTok and the internet. Anybody can be famous for anything at any point, So it's like, cool. I think you just have to accept it. Hey, not everybody's going to be pristine anymore. We can easily pull up your history. We easily know where you came from. You know what I mean? You're not just going to jump on the scene anymore and be the fresh face. No, we've got, time to know where you came from before. Where were you doing this and saw that?
God, what did I just see? I just saw, was it Cesar Chavez?
Oh.
My God, been dead for forever.
Yeah.
And like now,
they're struggling with it to take down all the road signs.
Yeah.
So it's far out. Maybe a topic for another time. I do want to hear all your opinion. If you find interest in this, please you send us a DM and tell us what you think. Maybe I'll put a show together and I'll put a list. I'll put a top 10 list of musicians that had incredible work and were pieces of shit, and we'll go through it.
That'd be actually a good one.
It would be interesting, but I guess we could wind this one down a little bit. Before we do that, though, we have a little segment called Shameless Plugs. And I think we're going to do that. Let's get into our shameless plugs.
No Lipton tea.
I don't have it set up. Oh. But we'll have Jack back.
Yeah. Jack back.
So I did learn something. About Jack. So it's Jack Wich, but Jack is short for John. So we technically have John Wick here in the studio with us tonight.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where did I do it?
It's always a good time when I check into a hotel or we're on a cruise or something and they see my ID and they're like, John Wick's on the boat. Hide the dogs. Hide the dogs. Screaming out like, are you only here for one night? Are we going to have problems tonight? Like, do I need to expect anything? I'm like,
yeah.
No,
Do you stay at the Continental?
That's it, yes.
I have to show you a picture. Actually, we have a picture up front of the building in New York.
Yeah.
Where they filmed the front scenes of the building.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, my God. All right. I'll quickly get through mine so that you guys could plug away. Big shout out to our sponsors and partners at Leak Busters Roofing for saving us from our leaks. Southern Sewer Equipment Sales. They bought me this badass microphone.
Hell yeah.
And they also pay my rent. By proxy. And the Bug Juice. We love those guys, too. Check out our partner podcasts at the Riffs and Rhythms podcast. That's Paul Robertson over there. He's going to probably bring it up again. Drums and Rums as well, both of which are featured with us on the B3 Podcast Network, wherever you listen to podcasts. Riffs and Rhythms dropping episodes on Tuesdays. Also, shout out to our friends at Ghost on the Ox. Another great show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Shout out to Jenny from the Block for being our keg sponsor. If you want to be a keg sponsor, we would love for you to do that. It's a $100 sponsorship, and you just Venmo me $100. We put a keg in a thing, and we drink beer. And we'll give you a shout out. I'll make a fun picture and put you on the wall back there. Where is it? Yeah, there's Jenny. Nice. Let's see what else. Go to our website, jncpodcast.com. Go buy some shirts. I make nothing on them. Absolutely nothing. It's just for your pleasure and to benefit the company putting the print on the thing. But we just love to see our stuff on your body. It's not that simple. We also have an arcade up there, a bunch of arcade games. And this is something I never mentioned, but I should. There's also a recap blog. So if you are like, well, I have no idea where you guys are at in your lives on this show, you could literally go there, and it's a few paragraphs that summarize the show so you can catch up. Yeah, and it's fun. Easy to digest. Right on the toilet. That's where I read them. You can come and see my one-man band show. I'm in a few places this week. I'll be at the Square Grouper in Fort Pierce tomorrow, and on Friday I'll be at the Vine and Barley.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So let's go over to Jack.
Yeah. So as Brock said, Vine and Barley out in St. Lucie West. We own that now. So we have some fun with the kind of Buzz style logo.
Yes.
And we got to do that little throwback to it. Still it's a big part of our history here. We're an awesome craft beer and wine bar. We opened up in 2008. My wife and I purchased it about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. I've been in the beer community since pretty much the buzz shut down in 2011, 2013, 14. I opened Castleways over in Jensen Beach. I was in the distribution game and sales manager for Walking Tree. Now we own Vine. But we got 25 different beers on draft, about 35 plus wines a draft, pickable snacks, charcuterie boards, big pretzels, fish dips, stuff like that. But live music every Friday, karaoke is on Mondays, $4 Pint Tuesday, Wednesdays trivia, Thursdays music bingo, reverse happy hour on the weekend. So always a good time. We're a laid-back lounge spot. No frills, no thrills. Just come chill with friends, have some good beers. We do have TVs on. We don't play the sound. We're not a sports bar or anything like that. So don't think, we're going to have Super Bowl or anything like that on. But if you want to chill out in a nice, relaxing atmosphere, have a glass of wine with your wife, significant other, date, whatnot, definitely a spot for that. So check it out, Vine and Barley.
Yeah, I can tell you, it is a great place to bring your wife or your girlfriend, but just never at the same time.
Probably not. Unless they're friends, who knows? But then other than that, it might be a little awkward evening.
Unless you got a 2-for-1 night.
Yeah. Come talk to me. We'll
Yeah. What about you, Paul? What you got?
Yeah, like you said, thanks for recognition there is, B3 Podcast Network. We just dropped an episode this week there, or episode there with Johnny. Ringo was back there. It was Johnny and his rock festival stories. I think that was, I went back and listened to it. Of course, it's our show, so of course, I love, what sounds. I think, again, having the right people, in a, especially in a podcast style to listen back, and I listened a lot in the car, obviously. It's like, man, it was, the people that know each other for a long time. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
The right people that know each other. Like Rogan has his comic buddies on. It's a different show compared to trying to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of thing, right? So it was great fun. And, Johnny's not afraid of the microphone either.
No,
so that definitely helps
good
to
banter.
kind of keep the thing going there, too. So, yeah, check that out there. We just dropped episode there with Johnny there every Tuesday, like Brad said. Audio on the B3 Podcast Network, video also on our YouTube channel, Riffs and Rhythms. Drums and Rums, keep threatening about that. But I did bring back something today.
I saw this too. And,
okay.
And so I'm going to let you go ahead. I wanted to bring it up.
Okay, so Jack, right? So I've been kind of threatening to bringing my original podcast back, and it's just been, some of it has just got to get into the groove and spinning the wheels again, right? And something this came up last night when we taped an episode with Denny Artachi on our Riffs and Rhythms show, and he does a podcast, and he's telling stories about when he was playing with Iron Butterfly, and it's like all the stuff in L.A. that he went and did. So anyway, it came up in conversation. I said, yeah, I used to do a show, and he's all about how do you differentiate it. It's an interesting conversation because he's a personal finance guy, and he talks about how do you differentiate things, and how do you differentiate yourselves like as musicians? How do you do something a little different than nobody else doing, and so on and so forth. And I said, yeah. I used to do the show like it'd be my drive to work. I have a very short drive, Indiantown to 45th Street, and I'm on and off the highway in like 15 minutes. So basically, it's a podcast, exit to exit. And it's like, it could be whatever the topic is, something that happened the night before, something on my mind is like, and I call it carpooling with Paul, right? So again, you're carpooling with me, right? I tape it in the car as we go. Yeah, the audio is probably not the super best to like in here the microphones, but I said, fuck it. Let me start this back up again. Again, it's my opportunity. It's a single conversation by myself talking to hopefully listeners that enjoy it. I'm not with a co-host with guests, or I'm not interviewing people on the Drums and Rums show or so. It's just one-on-one kind of things. And so I was like, let me give this a try. It was a motivation last night from Denny. That's all Denny, right? And he goes, that's something different.
Yeah.
You're in the car and you're talking and you're doing it, and it's like, yeah.
Well, people want short, digestible bits. And a 15-minute podcast is much better than an hour,
You're right.
hour and a half type podcast.
And our long-form show is, sometimes, most, and we don't live stream it, so sometimes, most people don't watch all the way through, but yeah, I said, something maybe to kind of look at starting to get into. So yeah, so you did notice it because I did drop it when I
did it, dude.
This evening.
It popped right up in my on my Spotify. It was like carpooling with Paul, and I was like, well, this is a throwback.
There you go.
So yeah, so they originally did this a couple of years ago, and then I delisted the episodes. They're still there. I can reactivate them. It's still in the whole thing. But yeah, put it through our podcast network. Like, why not have more shows, right? To like this show tonight, or we're taping live, we'll drop audio tomorrow. The Riffs and Rhythm show is on Tuesday drops. So it's like, how do we expand this network of more content? So we've talked to a few other people about maybe helping them kind of get their own show up and be part of our network, and how do you grow and sponsorships, et cetera, et cetera. Similar like-minded kind of content. So so that was it. So I guess tomorrow I'll see what I'm going to talk about tomorrow on the way to work, and sometimes it might be a 15-minute conversation. If it's bad traffic,
sometimes it's a little longer.
15-minute rant.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Road raging in the car, right, and so forth. So, but yeah, so I got that going on there. So again, check out that stuff. We got a great episode coming up next week where Denny Artachi, check that out. We had a great weekend this past weekend, the big Blues Blast at Double Road. So definitely check out the Treasure Coast Blues Society if you're here locally.
Yeah.
Support Treasure Coast Blues Society. Again, trying to keep the blues alive. Next monthly jam, I think it's April 21st, I believe. Kevin McLaughlin Band will be the house band hosting the open jam. So come on out there and support the blues. And we got a big picnic coming up soon also at Terra Firmata. And it's got a lot of stuff going on. No music gigs. I'm taking a little time off there.
You put in a lot of effort on that one gig you did.
4 hours with Furrow, man. That's a lot of, sitting on the box for 4 hours. Up in a box. But yeah, that's I think that's kind of what we got going on there.
Nice. Good deal. Shameless plug. All right, friends. Well, I hope that you enjoyed our show tonight. Maybe it brought back a little bit of nostalgia. I don't know. It did for me. It took me right back to that time period. But yeah.
I mean, for me personally, that buzz time period was such a great time. I mean, I would literally set my alarm clock in elementary school up to 5:59 so I could wake up the second before Mark would do the first break. So just listening to to them and just that hearing about the stuff going on with the school drives or the turkey drops or things like that locally. Just we don't have as much community push anymore.
Scavenger hunt.
Yeah, the scavenger hunt. I mean, I think just unfortunately social media's kind of sucked a lot of that out. There's not as much of a need anymore. But yeah, man, I wish radio was a little bit more prevalent and a little bit, bigger and better for us here locally.
Without diving into a whole other conversation, I feel like, we are kind of the last generation that
knew what it was,
that lived between it, right? So we grew up without cell phones, and we grew up without. And I mean, we didn't grow up without them, but we know a time we got to see cell phones happen. We got to see high-speed
internet. We were still call and collect on the phone at the mall.
Man. Yeah, you say it real quick before you have to accept the charges.
That's
we did that, but then we also lived the whole other segment of our lives with all that technology, and now we're gonna get to see, God willing, we get to see even more. So I remember listening to the All Request show, and calling in and asking for songs and then hitting the tape recorder to record the song.
Oh my God.
And you get pissed when the DJ let the jingle run too long. You're like, shit.
Yeah.
But we lived through that.
Yeah, don't talk over the ramp. Just let it play.
Let it play.
Let it play.
And so that's something that the generation after us will never ever see.
They
they'll
got
never
to experience it with Stranger Things, and kind of that whole deal that they pushed. I thought that was kind of cool, a little throwback.
Right, and it's like everything always does come in a cycle.
Yeah.
And whether it's kids growing up in the 80s wanting to wear bell bottoms or whatever, and it comes back around because people discover new things, and hopefully, good things, not bad things in history.
Yeah.
But I think I understand where you're going, and and I. Obviously, a Gen Xer, and think about that. But what does the next generation think in 20 years when they're having that same conversation about, kids today won't know what it's like, having to actually make a phone call and actually pick up a cell phone. You just think about it now. And
20 years from now, I'll be in a home, so I won't be worried about any of it.
It will be all Black Mirrored.
Yeah, for real. I'll be like, I need a change. Anyway.
Wally.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, I hope long gone before that. Well, you guys give it up once again for my co-host, Paul. And, of course, our special guest, John Wick. No, Jack, we love you, man. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome insight. I could not have done this show without you. give us any kind of legitimacy whatsoever.
Super sorry we had to miss the last one, but I mean, just like you said, the buzz was good times for this area, and be able to kind of share those memories and kind of let people know what it was like, and a lot of people don't know the story of what happened behind the scenes when the station shut down.
Yeah.
And that's the number one question I get asked every time when somebody asks me why, what was it, and when I tell them it was money, like straight up, it was money. We didn't go into the next year ratings in number one. We couldn't bring in those car dealerships. We couldn't bring in the long-term contracts, and
that's what happened.
That's literally
It's interesting, man. It's technology and money. Like I feel like the PPM really was the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
For not just for any radio station that was struggling or relying on those paper, the paper reporting. It's crazy.
No.
Well, you guys join us next week for more shenanigans and dare I say tomfoolery. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Broadcasting live from the legendary JNC Lounge. I'm Brad Brock. We love you. Good night.
I'm amazed. How did this song live a life this way? Oh, don't you know? When the song is done, it's time to go. When the song is done, it's time to go. She got a heart of gold and an angel smile. I got this whole guitar and a soul band's wild. She loves me more than she loved me then. I'm not sure I'll be back again. Oh, I'm amazed. I've lived this long, living life this way. Don't you know? When the song is done, it's time to